Hi, Aaron Kirkwood, marriage and family therapist with Counseling Associates for Wellbeing in Athens, Georgia. Thanks for joining me again today. I wanted to talk a little bit about the difference between having an argument and having a discussion, and why it's important to make that distinction, and why one of those is better for you and your relationships, whether that be with your partner, your child, your coworker, than the other. It may seem obvious, it may seem like common sense, but generally speaking, if you can have a discussion instead of having an argument, I think that both people are going to end up feeling better, right, in the long run. So if you think to yourself of a time when maybe you have had a discussion with someone about, say, maybe your favorite movie, and maybe you each had a different movie that you liked, and you discussed it, and the one person talked about why they really think that one movie is the best, and the other person listened and maybe nodded along and said, oh yeah, I remember that one part of that movie, that was really good. And once that person kind of finishes talking about their favorite movie, maybe the other person says, that's a good point, here's my favorite movie, and let me tell you why. That's a discussion, right? Versus, let's say you had an argument. You've got a relative who maybe has a different political affiliation than you have, and maybe you had an argument. And what that usually looks like, I think, is neither person is really listening, right? They're just trying to get their point across. They're trying to demonstrate why they are right. It doesn't matter what the other person says. The bottom line is they're right, the other person is wrong. Generally speaking, that's what an argument looks like, right? Think about the way that you feel after you've had a discussion versus how you feel after you've had an argument. Just speaking personally, I think after having an argument, I feel drained. I feel emotionally worn out, versus having a discussion, I may feel energized. I feel closer to the person that I've been speaking with. I feel better just about them, about myself, about the relationship. After having an argument, I may feel like this is somebody I don't even want to talk to again anytime soon. So in your own life, if you could be more purposeful about having discussions versus having arguments, and what does that look like? Again, think about, because we've all done it, right? We've all had discussions, we've all had arguments. Think about what a discussion looks like and how you can put that into place about even really important issues with, again, your partner, a child, another relative, boss, coworker, friends, whoever. What's the key ingredient, right, that distinguishes an argument versus a discussion? A discussion is an even exchange of ideas. It's in a discussion, you're listening, you're taking in the other person's point of view. Guess what? It doesn't mean you agree with it, right? You don't always have to agree with someone to have a productive discussion. But at the end, I would imagine if we ask people at the end of an argument versus at the end of a discussion, we said, do you feel like you've been heard by the other person? At the end of an argument, most of the time, I think people would probably say no. At the end of a discussion, they would say yes, absolutely. I hear this very often in my work. People will say, I don't ever feel heard. I don't ever feel listened to. And then we do some things in session, and as they begin to feel heard, suddenly hope, there's hope in the relationship where there may not have been before. So I would encourage you to think about what the difference in a discussion and an argument is. And again, it's really about listening to the other person, I think, and making a point of, not necessarily agreeing, but trying to understand things from their perspective. A question that I often ask clients as they're discussing something is, why is this important to you, right? So try to understand why, whatever it is that you're having a discussion, hopefully, and not an argument about, why is this important to the other person? And if you can do that, I just think both people end up feeling better. Things can feel more resolved, right? Because oftentimes when you have an argument, you don't feel like anything's been resolved. And so what happens a week later, a month later, you come back, you have the same argument, and it just gets amplified, and other stuff gets it's almost like a tornado in the room. Other stuff gets sucked in, and it's just totally destructive. There's nothing good happening there. So just give that a little thought. I think that you'll find it helpful in all endeavors of your life. If you have any questions or would like to set up an appointment, if you're in the Athens, Georgia area, there'll be some contact information below. Thanks for listening.